Hello and welcome everybody to a very special edition of the Buy Round Show. Today we are looking into the biggest personal rivalries in the NRL. I'm your host James Graham. I am joined by leading NRL journalist Michael Chammas.
Jimmy, thanks for having me, mate.
And Buy Round legend.
That's right. That's right. Buy Round legend.
Extraordinaire,
man of many talents, on the sideline, in the mixer, Charlie White.
Great to be here, Jimmy and Chammy. Good to see you, mate. People loved the show with you a few weeks ago. They did the best 10 stories.
I'll start invoicing for percentage of sponsorship then. That'll be good.
Geez, we can't afford that. No. No.
We don't offer
There's not enough zeros. There's not enough zeros on a calculator on an invoice sheet for that.
And it's all for the love.
It's true, actually.
It's
I'm
all
only here
for
for
the love.
You're
exactly.
right.
We are going to get stuck into some rivalries. Again, this may be a potential two-parter. And also, if we have missed any out, please let us know in the comments section, or if you'd like to see us dig into some of those personal rivalries. We're going to kick things off with Wayne Bennett.
Do you want to explain what we're doing? Probably explain what we're doing a little bit more first before you jump in, because obviously this is a very different show. Again, it's a different show than we did last time.
You go. And you take us there, Charlie.
The idea, obviously, it's actually not our idea. Pinched it from the head of social at TikTok, Min, who I was at an event for TikTok representing the Buy Round a few weeks ago, and she said, "I loved the series, the show you did with Chammy recently, the biggest stories." She's like, how's this for a twist in it? What if you do rivalries? So here today, we're doing personal rivalries, not club rivalries, but personal rivalries.
Brought to you by TikTok.
Of course. Of course. Thank you, TikTok, for the idea. Thank you, Min.
All right. Well, there we are. There's the genesis of the idea, the origins of the idea for the show. But like I said, we'll get stuck into Wayne Bennett v. Craig Bellamy, arguably two of our game's greatest ever coaches. And it's a sheer time game. It's a sheer numbers game. That these two, with their time and numbers in the game, it's inevitable that there's going to be clashes and disagreements and disputes and different philosophies. And I think with obviously Coach Bellamy and his recently went over the 600 games as a coach at Clubland. Wayne Bennett would be, if you include the Brisbane competition, well into the thousands. That doesn't even include his representative tenure, which is, I believe, well over around the 70 mark at Queensland and international level with England, Australia, and I don't even think it counts as his New Zealand consultancy. But those numbers speak for themselves. But we're going to focus on that club rivalry. I guess a clash of ideas to kick things off. You know, one club is known for introducing the wrestle, the understanding of when the other team has the ball, slowing it down, and when you have the ball, speeding it up. Versus Bennett, that very nonchalantly just make your tackles and away you go.
It's interesting. I had a look at the record between them in the 44 games that they've met, and this is Wayne Bennett's Achilles heel. Craig Bellamy has won 34 of those games.
Wow.
For everything that Wayne has achieved, he's always been, Craig Bellamy's always had the wood over him, and that's something that's burnt Wayne Bennett for a long period of time, because they started. He was his understudy, wasn't he, Craig Bellamy, all those years ago? So, I think there's an enormous amount of respect there. But, you know what Wayne's like, Jimmy, more than anyone in this room. That would burn him inside, the fact that the two guys that are considered the greatest coaches of all time, well, three if you include Jack Gibson, but those two guys, head to head, it's a no-brainer that Craig Bellamy's got the wood over him.
Do you think, we are turning into a different tangent here about who is greater? Do you think the fact that Wayne has gone to other clubs, started, the inaugural Dolphins coach, like what he brought to that franchise in its first year? Look, you're not going to win a premiership in the first year of a franchise, but to make them as successful as they were, as competitive as they were, like that, it's not as great as winning a premiership or getting a team to finals maybe, but it adds weight to, there's not many coaches that can take over that task and be as successful as what Wayne was. Yeah,
but it's also a a reflection of the fact that Wayne has had to move on from places. Like Wayne left Newcastle, Wayne left Brisbane on bad terms. Like the fact he's had to restart and go to clubs is because of the fact that he didn't have sustained success to the extent that Craig Bellamy did. Like Craig Bellamy, his record at Melbourne is phenomenal. And I think Wayne Bennett, what he achieved at the Dragons is probably his greatest triumph. Maybe
really?
I just think the Broncos teams of all those years were star-studded. They had the money to spend. Look at the teams. They were just a Queensland Origin team. Mm. It was so what he did with Brisbane. I don't want to take anything away from it, but most coaches in that situation will be challenging for a title with the roster that he had. But he comes to the Dragons, and this is the hard bit when we're talking about the rivalries between the two. The year that he wins the comp is the year that Craig Bellamy's not there as coach because Melbourne kicked out of the comp for systematically breaching the salary cap, stripped of 2 premierships. So in 2010, he gets to the Dragons in 2009, takes perennial chokers, I'll say it because I'm a Dragon, and brings in some players, the Darius boys, your Jeremy Smiths, your Beau Scotts, and he turns them into a premiership force. They win the first year, I think they won the minor premiership in 2009. In 2010, they go on and win the comp. To me, what he did there, overcoming the hoodoo, bringing players in and transforming them into stars, turning Jamie Soward into the player he was, getting Darius Boyd to become a star of the competition, Brett Morris, bringing Mark Gasnier back in and fitting him into the puzzle and winning a comp with the Dragons with a team that was far inferior to the teams he had on paper at the Broncos, to me was his greatest achievement. But there was no Melbourne Storm. And it annoys me as a Dragons fan. Melbourne weren't there that year. Wish we could have beaten Melbourne for that premiership.
And there's a reason that they weren't there.
Yeah.
And that adds to the weight of the argument. Look, we're not going to get bogged down in it, but you mentioned that the systematic salary cap,
Rorts.
Whatever you want to insert word here, but it was clear that would not only go against Coach Bellamy, but also it would anger and fire up other coaches.
Yeah.
Like it really would. Like you'd be going in there and be like, then why are they not playing by the rules?
The Broncos were rotting the salary cap in their own way, though. Anyway, in all honesty, like Chammy just said, they're the Origin team basically. Like there's some rotting going on to have that team.
There goes our sponsorship money. It's now on legal fees to cover Charlie's defamation case.
But their team was insane. I mean, would Bennett have hated Craig Bellamy for that? Who knows? But he's won 7 NRL premierships, 7 rugby league premierships. I think some of them might have been Super League. Craig Bellamy's obviously only got 3 legitimate titles, but the longevity for the Storm to stay up for as long as they've done, apart from that year where they've been stripped of competition points, they've been into top 6 every single year Craig Bellamy's been there.
The thing, Jimmy and Charlie, about Bennett and this rivalry with Bellamy, probably what would eat away at him the most is that when things were going pear-shaped at Brisbane, I don't think they were that bad, but when there was pressure on him at Brisbane, you remember when the story came out, they were chasing Craig Bellamy to replace him?
Oh, yeah.
That would have stung. That would have stung. And Bennett's a proud man. Like he will go down as one of the greats. You could argue there should be an immortal category for coaches, and he would be there. But that would have hurt him. And I don't know if Bellamy was ever serious, but every time that he tinkered with the idea of leaving Melbourne, it seemed to be around Brisbane and going back to the Broncos. And I don't think you can compare what they've it's for longevity. Bennett has been around so long. Like, you're never going to get anyone ever, I don't think, to challenge what Wayne Bennett has achieved and being able to be in the game for 4 decades. But at one club, to do what Bellamy has done, I think you could lay claim that he is the greatest coach of the modern era.
And look, just on that personal rivalry between the two, it's inevitable. It's, competitive blokes wanting to be better than their opposition. Like, no one gets into coaching to be, an okay coach. I think they all get into it to win. And then by winning, you become the best. And you would have personal feelings on how others play the game, the philosophies that they have, and even, like I said, the contrasting ideas. Like, I've never been coached by Bellamy. I have by Bennett. I know some people that have had the crossover of two, and they tell me that they're complete polar opposites, which I guess is great for anyone out there, because there's more than one way to skin a cat. Bennett, well, both excellent people managers, but Bellamy with more of a systematic approach, and Bennett with more of a trusting approach for the artists to do their work as opposed to the system.
Sorry, Chammy, you go, mate.
Well, what's even more fascinating about the record that I spoke about, the 34-10 record that Bellamy holds, is that Bennett actually won his first 3 games against Craig Bellamy.
So it's 34-7 really.
It's 34-7 since then. And if this is correct here, the losing streak of Bennett against Bellamy is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 games straight.
Wow.
15 games straight he's
At
lost.
time of recording.
At time of recording, the last loss is...
Well, they're not going to play.
Yeah, well, that depends on when you plan on running this. No, they're not going to play this year, are they?
The Bunnies are on Mad Monday.
Yeah. So that goes back a while, and I think that's why I feel like when you're asking who is, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the head-to-head record should determine who is the better coach, but
I'm Team Bellamy though as well. I'm with you.
You are?
Yeah, I think so. Mate, it's incredible what they've done. Craig Bellamy could be Australia's greatest ever coach across all codes. Like, to keep a team.
The aura
up
of
for that
Wayne,
long.
though, Wayne has the aura.
Yeah.
Wayne's got, you cannot compete. Anyone in rugby league, the number one in aura is Wayne Bennett. Agree or not?
I think so, yeah. I think the fact that he's done it at multiple clubs and at representative level, I think adds a string to his bow.
But it's 15 years now since he last won a comp. That is what now separates. Like, he was in the conversation and there was no one even close to him. In 2010, when he led the Dragons to a premiership, after what he did at Brisbane, adding that premiership to his resume and thinking what still lies ahead, you would say there was no one going to come close to him. But in the last 15 years, falling short at the Bronx, falling short at Souths, Bellamy's caught up to him. Bellamy's caught up to him.
And they could get another premiership this year, the Storm. They're in the mix for sure. The only thing with Bennett is those numbers you rattled off at the start. Like, Bellamy's not going to come close to those numbers in terms of games coached. He's only just got his 600th. Like, Bellamy's going to end up well over 1,000, well over 1,200 in games coached.
So Bennett will.
Yeah.
But Bellamy could go another 10 years.
Yeah, but even that's only 250 games. He's still going to be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games off.
I think, no one will ever catch. It'll never be done. What Wayne Bennett has done, the amount of games he has coached, it will never, I don't think, will ever be done. The one thing that is a chink in the armour of Craig Bellamy is his Origin record. And then he hasn't won a series as Origin coach. Did he lose 3 in a row or 2 in a row? Correct me. It's 2 or 3. He lost 2 or 3 series as Blues coach, and then gets involved this year.
Yeah.
And they lose again.
Yeah.
Like, there is that hoodoo for Craig Bellamy.
Whereas
Origin.
Bennett, even recently, the worst Origin team in history, he coached them to a series win. Like, that's one of his greatest achievements as well.
Yeah, that was 2021, was it?
2020, COVID. Yeah, end of COVID was in November time, wasn't it?
It's funny as well, just thinking how personal rivalries can flow into other areas, and just how, maybe Wayne with being on Project Apollo, I seem to recall Coach Bellamy not being...
He was furious that Bennett had too much influence on Apollo.
And then what that, I guess, not suggests, but, if you're if you're helping save the game, which I think, you'd rightly go to Wayne because he's so experienced and can add value to that conversation. Like if they'd have gone to Coach Bellamy as well, but there's maybe a bit of you shouldn't be in that circle, because then you're
scheming.
Because at the end of the day, Bellamy doesn't dabble in the dark arts. Wayne Bennett does.
Well, hang on a minute.
I'm talking off-field stuff. I'm talking manipulation and the games in the media and talking to influential figures. He's very close to Peter V'landys. Bellamy just does his thing at Melbourne. Maybe out of sight, out of mind. Whereas Bennett, mate, he dabbles in the dark arts.
He speaks to journalists. I don't think many people listening would understand that. Like, Wayne Bennett speaks to a lot of journalists.
You wouldn't have thought so, judging by the way he handles press conferences, but But Wayne knows and he does. Bellamy's never had to worry about doing what Wayne does. He hasn't coached in rugby league mad towns, and that's probably helped Bellamy. And Bennett has been in every club, bar the Dolphins, but Broncos, huge club. Dragons, huge club. Newcastle, not in that sort of echelon, but still crazy mad one-team town. And then and South Sydney. So he's had to deal with it. I don't think the Dolphins is in that level, but Bellamy's had the luxury of being in out of sight, out of mind in Melbourne.
Now, this next one, Chammy, close to your heart, I'm sure. Danny Weidler v. Philip Buzz Rothfield. It's the media wars, really.
Wow.
It's Fairfax
We're going there.
v. News Corp. I've been lucky enough to work with both of them, both tremendous blokes, I'll say that, both great blokes in their own way. And it's
You
a very
suck up.
It's a very
What a suck, eh? They're tremendous guys in their own right.
They are two great journalists though as well. Like they've dominated rugby league journalism for a long time now. Both of them been working. I don't know how long Danny's been, but I know Buzz is over 50 years now, and Danny will be over 40 years.
Yeah, I think the year I was born he started, so that's 37 years.
37 years, yeah. Well, they've been stalwarts that whole time, going head to head for stories. But it's left a bit of bad blood there, hasn't it, Chammy?
It has. There is a mutual respect. I've spoken to Danny at length about it and to Buzz about it, to be honest. At the end of the day, they are the attack dogs for both of their Nine for a long time, but before that, for Danny was while he was at the Sun Herald at Fairfax, and then News Corp for Buzz. And they're very passionate about their organisations. And often they go at each other. And even most recently, Danny asked me to find an old article of his. It was from 2005. I found a Sun Herald column for him. I had to give it to him. And even in there was an attack on News Corp. It's not just a Buzz thing. It's an attack on News Corp in his column from 20-something years ago. And Buzz is like that. Like I respect both of them enormously. They are the kings of both of their empires, and they're very passionate about defending their territories. They're different operators. Danny's always said he operates differently to the way Buzz handles it. But I'll be interested from your point of view, because when you came over to the country, Jimmy, I don't know what your knowledge of the rugby league media was, but what was your first impression of, did people say to you that there are two guys you don't cross, Danny and Buzz? Or what was it like?
To be honest, coming from outside, it was just all labelled the media.
Yeah?
Like, it wasn't this person or this person. It was just, like, there was a front up. I can even remember coming with England and actually seeing Danny Weidler. Like, for us, it was a foreign concept to have cameras at training, and there was media there at this training session. I remember spotting Danny Weidler and recognising his face from Nine News. But for me coming here, they were all in the same camp. It was the media. Obviously now I have more of an understanding around, to use your phrase, which is great, about the attack dogs for each organisation. I think it probably comes down to they both can't win. And it's fair when it comes to breaking the story or announcing a headline news, it's first in, best dressed. I guess that has evolved as well over the years, where one wants it on the back page of their newspaper or even perhaps even better, the front page. But now it's become the quickest to get it online, to get it on X, on Instagram, whatever it may be. And because that, you naturally, the two attack dogs, like, it all leads in to winning. Like, if you're Danny and Buzz breaks a story that you should be across, you're almost answerable. Like, you've got to go and answer, like, the questions that the bosses at the Herald or Nine would ask would be, why are you not getting that? And vice versa. If Danny Weidler breaks a story and Buzz is sat there and he's not across it and he doesn't break it, you imagine the people at Fox and the Telegraph are going, mate, why is he getting that story first? Yeah. Because ultimately they both want to win.
And there's so many people in the game, like, what people don't understand, even people in rugby league clubs, like, they'll say to you, why do you have to be first? Or why do you have to? At the end of the day, it's like me asking a coach, well, why do you have to win? Why do you have to win a comp? Well, that's our job. Our job is to break the news. That's what we get judged by. And for Danny and Buzz for so many years, like, Danny's done so well to transition from print to TV. Like, he was the pioneer of print journos making it on television.
Right, okay.
Now, he's got a busted old head, Danny Weidler, but he's done a good job, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I remember speaking to David Gingell about, Danny tells a story about when he first rocked up, and I think the makeup lady or the wardrobe lady at Channel 9 said to David Gingell when Danny came in for his first day, David, what am I supposed to do with this bouncer? and like Weidler, to his credit, it's not about, as much as he gets his camera on, loves his head on camera, shout out to Danny, but his flaws in being able to present, and he's not a natural presenter, either am I, he makes up for in his ability to break news. And that was David Gingell's big thing is, I'm going to bring Danny Weidler across, who's notorious best newsbreaker in the business. I'm going to make him a TV journo, which was controversial at the time. And he backed him. And look at now, like honestly, yeah, people get the shits these days. Like journos, they think they're celebrities or they think they're stars and they want to be on TV. Danny was the first one to do that. And then Buzz, obviously, years later on Fox transition to NRL 360. The thing is with people feared them. Like, they respected them. They also feared that they didn't want to cross those two guys. And that, as a young journo, was an eye-opener. It was like, how am I ever going to compete when everyone feels like they owe Danny or owe Buzz because they don't want to get on their wrong side because of how powerful their respective columns are? Because you don't want to be in Buzz's What's the Buzz or Danny Weidler's column on Sunday for the wrong reasons because everyone's reading it. And to this day, I know, because I see the numbers, Danny Weidler's column is probably the most read sports column in Nine. So, and I'd say Buzz is the same, which is why he's still doing it. I don't know how he's still doing it.
It's so
after
impressive.
all these years.
It's their work ethic, though. The two of them obviously have incredible work ethics. And an example of that is if there's ever a scandal that I might be slightly adjacent to, the first two phone calls I almost always get is Danny and Buzz ringing like straight away. So they are across everything, and they are straight up picking the phone. Like you as a journalist, how many phone calls are you making a day?
Oh, mate, it doesn't stop.
Hundreds?
Yeah.
They're doing the same. Like it looks like a glamorous job and you get a lot of payoff for it, but it's a hard job, isn't it? And you got to be on the phone working constantly.
Well, for the young journos coming through, I get the honour of working closely with Danny at the moment. He's taught me so much about what it takes to try and get to the top and the work you have to put in. And even Buzz over the years, just watching him do his thing, you see. You might not agree with the way people go about things or you not agree with everything they say, but you got to respect the amount of work that they put into their respective fields. And I wonder though, like from a player point of view, what do you think the feelings are towards those kind of guys? Like, do you think there's a lot of guys who speak to Buzz who are close to him and same with Danny. Do you think it's driven by, do you think players are smart enough to build relationships because they know that it's in their best interest? Or does this happen naturally?
Yeah, I think it probably a bit of both. Like there's an incentive there for the players to be on the good side, but it can be organic, and I guess because like they hold so much power, there is an element of fear there because every player knows that there's a probability of something happening in their career, whether it's on field or off field, where they're going to need to try and leverage that relationship. And we see it plenty of time with coaches. The coaches that have relationships with certain journalists in the press, because you can almost tell by the tone that when things are going bad are written. And that's for me the dead giveaway is when things are looking bad at a club or when a player's out of form, you can tell by the tone of the review or the assessment of just what the relationship is like. And I guess that is part, you'd like it to be more independent. No one's going to, I guess you're going to present the facts and that, which kind of brings me to a point I wanted to make is the break now more important than the take? And but what I mean by that is it more important to break the story, or is it more important to provide a take on the story? And sometimes, like, news will come of a signing or an off-field scandal or a big news story in the game. The coaches moving, all that jazz, like Hasler going. say Hasler going to the Titans, is it more important to get the break on that, to announce that, or is it more important to give the take on it?
I think, yeah, it's ideally it's both. Like when Danny and I broke the story about Lockie Galvin this year rejecting the Tigers and wanting to leave, that's a big story. That is a massive story, and you want to get that first. But equally, once you do that, the next story is, well, what the hell has just happened? And I remember making a lot of phone calls about, because then my next story was, Lockie Galvin has told the club that he doesn't think he can develop under Benji Marshall.
And that
was the take. That was the take
so
on
you've
it.
Broken, he's going,
Yeah.
or he's rejected,
Yeah.
and now the take is,
What happened? Why? What's going on? And I think if you can do both, that's in an ideal world, it's perfect. And I think with those two guys, I think they're probably renowned for breaking things over the years. I think it's that the rivalry is summed up between them in the fact that not only do they not get, like, are they going head to head, but the people that they were aligned with, you ended up starting a war with, if you were aligned to Danny, then it meant you couldn't be aligned to Buzz, and vice versa. So the Sonny Bill camp, Coda Nasser, and Anthony Mundine, that was Team Weidler for a lot. Like, to me, that's Weidler's legacy in media. That period, I remember as a kid watching the footy show and the breaking news on Mundine and Sonny Bill. That was his, mate, he made a career out of it. And then you look at Buzz and the fact that Weidler was close to Gus and the News Corp war with the Super League war, like Buzz and Gus have been going at it for years and years. And that stems from News Corp and Super League war. Also because Danny is really close to Gus.
Is there that ruthlessness of, if you're not with me, you're against me?
I think it was for a long time. Maybe not as much now, but there definitely was a feeling of, if you talk to that guy, you're not in with me, and
guilty by association.
Yeah, for sure. I think you see it a little bit now. Like, I'm trying to think of examples over the years.
Super League war between them was a big thing as well. It got really heated between the two of them.
Yeah.
I got a recent example. Is if obviously work at Triple M. If Danny's on a show, none of the Fox people are allowed to be on the show with Danny.
Oh, really?
Because the News Corp don't have any of their talent doing anything with Danny or associating with Danny at all.
Well, they don't hate me enough. I'm offended.
I know. That's why you two can work together.
That's why I'm his lapdog.
You know what's interesting as well, just going back to that player point of view, it's really difficult as well because, and especially before the days of social media, because the pen was mightier than the sword. And if you think about footballers and coaches, personality types high in aggression, like way on the distribution scale of aggressive people in life, in society, rugby league people are that way inclined, and naturally you sort your battles out and your grievances out with players, and it's physical. But then when somebody writes something to you, like it rattles you as a player, because it's like you have this instant response of like, fight, right? Let's, like, war and violence, like, rah, we'll come. It's like, he wrote these words, and before the, like, say, the social media, that there was no almost right to reply. And even then, now in social media, if you're putting anything on X or Instagram, you'll be careful you don't fall into that trap sometimes that may have been laid. I got that myself with Peter Fitzsimons. Like, he's, we're not covering that one, but Charlie.
Well, I was actually, as you were just talking, I was thinking about Peter Fitzsimons. Yeah. And because we are getting to one of yours, and I was going to mention it. I was in my head, I'm like, I'll mention that when we do Burgess v. Graham.
Yeah.
But players have a right of reply now, Jimmy.
I don't use social media. So I actually, through the Dragons, I wrote a statement back to him, like picking apart his, cretinous comments around me and completely misrepresenting me.
Did you see his mansion he sold recently? He's just sold a house for about 30 million in Cremorne or something. Yeah, well, very nice life. They're living the Fitzsimons.
Obviously, being the social justice warrior that he is, he will donate all that to good causes. You'd hope so, because if you're going to practice what you preach, you really do look after those people in need. So fingers crossed.
Would make sense.
Can't wait to see the societal contribution financially from the sale of said house. I doubt that will happen. But we digress.
Yeah.
The reason that I guess that feeling amongst the fear is the players is because you can't get back.
Yeah.
You know, like if you write something about me, whether it's about my playing future or something off field, whatever it is, I'm handcuffed.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the same platform. The people you reach are probably, even if I am on socials, are different to the people you reach. It's reputation, and it's really difficult to, like, reputation on the field. Like, if someone's Payne Haas comes onto the scene, and I'm up to my eyeballs trying to deal with him, and maybe it's completely obvious, but I can just go out there and try my best and work together. I'm not on my own, but if it gets personal with somebody with that pen, like it can ruin you, and it can send you off track. I probably question whether journalists just understand how much, you report the truth, but it's like how much thought, how much time you can consume somebody's thought week with, based off a two paragraph article on them. It's and because you are, like I say, handcuffed to it, there's nothing you can do. I can't come in if you wrote something about me and I came and did what I do on a rugby league field,
you'd be sacked.
Well, you're going down, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going down.
Win. But that's why players have, I think now, I don't think, I'm not going to try to discredit the media, but they're not as powerful as it was in the heyday of Buzz and Weidler, because they do have a right of reply through their own platforms. Like even yesterday, trying to think of some examples. Like when I did the Jerome Luai going to the Tigers, like Jerome Luai came out and said, nothing's signed yet. And I put my reputation on the line. The players can come back and say, well, this is not the case. When I wrote that Taylor May had rejected the Tigers' 3-year offer, and then later that day he signs a 2-year deal on more money, which I said is why he rejected it. His brother comes out on social media and said, I told you not to believe the media. I'm like, hang on a second. I said that he rejected it because he wanted the 2-year deal for more money, and he got that by the end of the day. So even if you are right, the players do have an ability now to influence what the fans are being, what the fans are listening to and what the narrative that's being told.
There's one guy who I've thought about as we've been having this conversation, and I kind of feel for him in a way, is DCE. Like, you could make a case. He's contributed to the situation and contributed to the fact that there is so much chatter in and around him, but maybe even myself included, some of the commentary around it is probably, maybe it's overstepped the mark with some of the questioning that's gone on towards DCE, but credit to him, like he had an interview before his last game at Manly, live on Fox. Really you'd think he'd be that fired up. Maybe because he is a bit more calm and chill, credit to him. I don't know if I could exercise the same level of patience that he has, or I'd just be telling him, I'm not doing any press. You can all get screwed for what you've said about me. But I think he is probably the recent person that springs to mind to be like, well, he's been not dragged through the mud, but he's been spoken about left, right, and centre.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought DC up, because it brings us back to Weidler and Buzz. The fact that DCE did the initial announcement, we broke the story on 9. The announcement was on 100% footy. It's not a coincidence that News Corp then started to... The coverage of DCE's decision was very negative in News Corp. And we were very much on the other side of things. And that's what happens sometimes when a person aligns themselves with one side, not the other turns around and says, well, stuff you, you're in bed with them, we're going after you. And what happened on NRL 360, that Mestrov then calling on calling in and making an offer live to the producers on the show. Then Mestrov's now aligned to Fox because he's helped them out and given them, like, it just becomes who are you in bed with? And that is the hard part about sometimes the players getting caught in the media crossfires.
I think what aggravates the players in this sense is it feels as though it's not what you actually think. It's what you're being told to think. And, I mean, anybody that does debates, you know, you get given the topic, you got to debate for it or against it. And people can manufacture or gather evidence for option A and do exactly the same for option B. And obviously, if there's no real passion, if there's no real care, you can just go, I'm going to argue option B because I've been told to argue for option B or person B as opposed and against option A or person A. And you dig up things for the past that are good for your option and bad for the opposite option.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess there's probably a feel amongst some players that it's maybe not what you genuinely think. You're just presenting an argument as opposed to, I mean, again, look, most articles don't have enough room to go into the nuanced discussion of why, you know, both are necessarily right or wrong. And that really doesn't lead anywhere. If you give a balanced approach, it's got to be, they're wrong, he's right. Like, you've got to, really.
Yeah. I remember talking to Cameron Ciraldo. I got a reasonably good relationship with Cameron when he was deciding between the Tigers and the Bulldogs. I remember having a chat with him about the difficulties of what lies ahead if he goes to the Bulldogs because of the media wars. I said, mate, if you go to the Bulldogs, you're going to have a target on your back. Not because of anything else, but because of Gus. He will be there, he will take the bullets for you, and he will be great for you, which is part of the reason he went to the Bulldogs, because of the fact that Gus is there and he's got someone who knows what he's doing, he can help him out. But I said, by association, you are going to be taking on the wrath of News Corp because they hate Gus. They hate Gus, and naturally, you're going to feel when things get tough at the Bulldogs, and they're going to come after you because of your association to Gus. But at the moment, well, even look at Galvin, like, he's actually escaped it. Maybe I was wrong because they're going after Gus for some of these decisions and not Ciro. So maybe he's been protected by it, but there's no doubt by association he was going to wear the brunt of News Corp.
Why does News Corp hate Gus? Did it all start with
Gus
Super
hates
League?
News Corp.
Yeah, and did that start with Super League? And
well, Danny would probably be better position to talk about it, but he's not allowed on here with Jimmy, so you have to stick with me. But I think it just goes back to the Super League war. I don't know the ins and outs. As I said, I probably shouldn't talk out of school, but at the end of the day, there's a hatred between News Corp. Gus didn't want the Super League. He's ARL man, and it just got worse and worse from there. And then for years, he wrote for Fairfax. He's been close to Nine, working at Nine as well. So naturally, he's been on the other side.
Yeah. Is part of Ciraldo not copying the wrath of News Corp journalists? Is Ciraldo quite good at that in terms of communicating with the media and communicating with journalists, working with them?
There's a rumour that he's in a coffee club with Buzz.
Oh, really?
There's a rumour. I've heard a rumour.
I don't think it'd be hard to dispel. They both live in the Shire, so
Can you
all you'd need to do is follow one of them around for a couple of days.
Let's do that. All right.
Friendly neighbourhood fun. That's all it is.
That could be a podcast episode, just
absolutely.
following Buzz for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder what he gets up to. Next one. This is a bit of a fun one, a sexy one, if you will. Russell Crowe v. Luke Keary.
Ooh, yes.
Now, Chammy, do you want to tell us what happened on this fateful night at Russell Crowe's farm? If you don't want to, I can.
Give us a recap.
Obviously,
of history.
there was a bonding session up at Coffs Harbour at Russell Crowe's farm. A few drinks were being enjoyed, and Russell Crowe started firing some shots at the bunnies and the players and talking about their work ethic. And young Luke Keary, I think he was 19 years old at the time, was the man to stand up to Russell Crowe. It then led into an incident where potentially a quad bike has driven over a tent. The next morning they woke up and Luke Keary had left the bonding camp, and he soon left to join the Sydney Roosters. One of the great beefs, Jimmy, in rugby league history.
I remember all. It's fascinating that. Just going back to the media representation, I was going to say it's fascinating that this gets out and who's the leak. Look, if something like this happens, all the lads are going to see it, and people are going to be telling everyone. I mean, like, oh, God, how was your camp? Oh, it's good, but
Luke left halfway through.
Should have seen what happened.
As if they waited until they got back home. It would have been everywhere straight away.
A Hollywood A-lister is blowing up at the team, and Kez fired back at him. You should have seen it. Like you're gonna literally be having those conversations, and it isn't going to be long before it comes across the desk of some reporters of the game. Like it's huge.
Did you ever get a version of what happened through your connections through your English brothers in South Sydney?
Not like a
play-by-play,
but I think there was a representation there that Russell had his favourites, and that maybe
they were in that group.
I don't think he was too pleased with what was going on, but Kez won a comp there at South Sydney in 14.
Yeah.
Like he was part of that team, so he would have had some weight. Obviously, being young, you're down the pecking order a bit, but there's probably a bit on Russell there as well. Like you don't invite people over to give them a spray. Like no one wants to do that, and I guess good on Keary for standing up. Like it.
By all accounts, Russell Crowe's a bit of a flog as well. Will say that and get that out there. By all accounts, this is just a fair. This is a true story. Russell Crowe, by many accounts, is a bit of a flog, and that's not.
It's a true story.
Well, it's my opinion. Is what
you can't say it's a true. You can say it's.
The the reports are Russell Crowe may allegedly be a bit of a flog.
It's a true story that my opinion is that Russell Crowe is a flog. This is good.
God. We're going to do some. I'm going to have some big work in post production.
They're going to change this podcast to the goodbye round now.
It's just an opinion. It's just an opinion.
That's you like that one? Hey, that's how can we reinvent it when we get bankrupt in dissolvent? Come back as the goodbye round.
There are some, alleged allegations towards Russell Crowe that he might be a bit tough to deal with at times.
Okay.
And be a bit of an arrogant man.
Well, and you throw alcohol in the equation, and he's obviously a passionate South Sydney fan and wants to see them do their best. And if he's feeling that they're not, trying as hard as he would like them to, and I know speaking to players that he did message them every game day to remind them that it is game day, and he's that. The iconic scenes of him in the crowd and doing the gladiator thumb up or thumb down, it adds to the theatre. But I think if you're going to invite people over, like you're saying, you get drinks. You maybe not the time or place to give your season review of the performance. And what are you hoping to achieve from that? Oh, Russell doesn't think I'm trying. Now I'm going to try. Like you already know, you're trying, but you know what? Good on Kez for standing up. And this isn't against anything Russell Crowe. I've met him a couple of times through Sam and that. Like nothing too hectic. Seemed a nice guy, but for Kez to stand up like he did, I love that. Like I love that. Like don't be putting me down. Don't you be putting us down. Like. I think it's.
I don't give a stuff who you are.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about Luke Keary. I don't necessarily disagree with what Crowe is saying, but it's not the environment, and he's probably not the person to say it. Well, how good's that? Kez standing up to him,
and the Roosters just stood there and applauded and said, "He's a contract son."
Yeah, exactly. I might have undersold how old he was. He's actually about 22, 23.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking like
22, 23. And obviously it happened in 2016, and he was at the Roosters, signed a deal for 2017. So,
anything else you want to take back? Or are you sticking with the rest of it?
No. I'm happy to say that that I've heard reports that.
I've heard reports that Russell Crowe's a flog.
We don't need to keep saying that over and over and over again.
There's nothing else to add on that one. But obviously, it worked out for the Roosters though.
Yeah, huge.
So Rabbitohs fans should be filthy at their owner for having a feud with a player that ends up to go into their crosstown rival and winning 2 premierships there.
And I think so. South Sydney at that point. They haven't won a premiership since? No, they haven't, have they? So, I think for Luke Keary, it's worked out well. I actually remember speaking to Luke about doing I wanted to do like a 10-year doco on 10 years after South Sydney won the comp. This was maybe the year before last. When was it? Yeah, it was 2 years ago, last year. And Keary was going to do it. He was going to sit down and talk about why he left and what happened. But he messaged me a couple weeks later and said, I might let it go. I might not reopen old wounds. But it would be fascinating to sit down with Luke Keary and actually hear what he had to say about what really went down, because I don't think he's ever told his version of events to what went down, like properly, sat down.
Yeah, not properly. We had him on the podcast and he spoke about it a bit.
Did he?
Yeah, he spoke about it a bit and took us inside that night a little bit. Not huge detail, but did, of course, talk about the fallout of that and leaving South Sydney and all
You've
that
got to
jazz.
assume that there is a decent security system at Russell Crowe's
Coffs Harbour
residence, whatever you want to
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Like, that CCTV footage would be like
that would go that far, surely out into the
well,
paddocks.
If there's any like hackers out there, like I reckon that rather than hacking people's bank accounts, hack into Russell Crowe's storage drive of his CCTV, and if we could get that out, it would be great viewing.
Oh, it'd be
the buy round will
hilarious.
buy it off those hackers.
No, we won't. We're not encouraging.
That's why they call this the buy round.
Yeah, we will buy for a negotiated price.
Let's speak about his teammate at the time, Sammy Burgess. And it was against you, Jimmy Graham. Like, as I was obviously a kid when all this was happening, like, just incredible watching you two go head to head. But it obviously, the main incident is the grand final, but there were so many matchups between the two of you.
Yeah, there was, and I think I'll go back and talk about some things that happened sort of in England. But firstly, I think it was a big thing here in Australia because Australians wanted us to fail. They wanted, when Sam came, they wanted him to fail, being English.
You reckon?
100%, mate. Any English player that comes and plays in the NRL, especially then, there was, I imagine it was the same with Morley, that there was a feeling amongst the Australians, players and public, that these guys think they can do it over here and we've got to show them we can't. And there's a degree of...
Often the players, the Australian players.
Even the probably more the public about like what do they think they can come over here and play in our competition. And I think Sam won the respect quite quickly. And then me coming over here, mate, the Aussies, the people in the press, they couldn't have been quick enough to see us go home packing as a failure, as like, oh, this Pommy who, you know, done really well over in Super League, thought you could come out here.
Who's this ginger coming over here to dominate the NRL?
Who do you think he is? Mate, there's a huge element of that.
Do you reckon the rivalry though was because you were the best front rower in the game, Sam Burgess was the best lock in the game, and you're both English going head to head?
Well, I guess that that helps it trickle into other areas as opposed. It's not just a South Sydney player and a Bulldogs player. That keeps it between those two. But I guess that can trickle into other areas of the NRL fan base that go, oh, it's kind of nice that there's no Queensland, there's no New South Wales. It's something different. I can watch these people from a different land go after each other in every game that they play. Going back, I played against Sam when he was at Bradford Bulls. Like, he burst onto the scene as a 17-year-old. And oh my God, he basically ended this lad's career at Saints, this middle forward, Gareth Frodsham he was. And he was, I think he was the same age as Sam. And a lot of people were talking up this Gareth Frodsham kid. And I think they played for like England Academy. And Bear Joe had it all day over him. But we played Bradford. And this Gareth Frodsham, he came on and took a carry. And Burgess was only 5 meters offside. But oh my God, he flew out the line and nearly killed him. And it was like, Gareth Frodsham literally never recovered, like mentally from that moment. It like, he put him into next week. Anyway, so obviously I knew who Sam was. We played in a big game actually in 2007. Bradford Bulls against St Helens in the Challenge Cup semi-final. Genius. Going back to that, he at the age of 18 was like the person in the pack that we identified that we needed to neutralise. And as an 18-year-old, that's
It's a big rap.
that's a big rap. And I'm maybe 20 or 21 and going, oh, okay, like, look, fair enough. But on the way to the game, Bradford obviously now they've gone, or they had some like shitty financial years, but it was bad. It must have been bad at the time because we were playing at Huddersfield, and St Helens' coach, we had a police escort from the M62, where we went up the hard shoulder, and yeah, we got police escort to the ground, and we actually went past the Bradford Bulls coach, which was in traffic. We were like,
That's brilliant.
That
see you
would have been
later.
so
Like,
frustrating.
we actually said that, like, oh, we don't know if that's going to be like,
You're the sport rich club.
yeah. But we weren't rich by any stretch, but we just had enough money to play for a police escort. But we were like, oh, I wonder if that'll like irk them. But we were like, oh no, that probably gives us a 12-0 head start, like getting to the ground on time. And then obviously we became England teammates. So much respect for one another, and you know, obviously the decision to come out here was going to be on from the very first game, and we knew that the press were going to talk it up. That we had that. I think that first Good Friday game was the one where South had scored, we kicked off back to them, and so I don't know what happened but the referee blew a penalty or something, and it sort of like stopped, and he's like kept running, and I'm like, what are we? And then so we've hit each other, and like we've both gone back, and then we've gone again, and then but the referee's like blowing to stop the game, and then that was like, oh, it was all on, and yeah, and then obviously the grand final kickoff in 14, where I think, you know, there'd been a number of games there that we'd come up against each other every time, and Bulldogs and Souths at the time were two of the best teams, weren't they? So I think we played each other in the 13 qualifier, or one of the playoffs games in 13.
I remember at the time, South Sydney, there was a view that perhaps that you placed your head in a certain position as a missile. Can you talk to us about that? Like, did that happen? Was there any thought whatsoever about, I'm going to get this bloke? Look, I'm just saying what they were thinking at the time.
I know, because don't worry, a lot of Souths fans thought that at the time, but it is actually preposterous and impossible to do.
Also, you'd be risking getting completely knocked out as well.
Like, even the thought of it has just made my neck, like, to go and think, I'm just going to lead your head. If you go back and watch it and you look at the body position, it's a natural body position that I put myself in.
You didn't get rattled at all by that head clash, did you? Like, did you get knocked out at all or concussed at all? No, you felt fine.
Well, I mean,
did you feel it?
A big collision.
Big collision, yeah.
But I can remember that particular day. Well, look, anyone that watches rugby league, who stands to take that first kick off?
Front rower.
Yeah. What position does Sam play?
Lock.
Yeah, exactly. So he was stood there for a reason. Like, secretly, I was praying for Dave Tyrrell to be there. Because it was Tyrrell or George Burgess. Like, I'm going, you know, like, not George would be, but like, you know, Tyrrell would be nice. To be, with all due respect to Dave Tyrrell, I was like, that would be the dream start to the grand final.
Poor Dave Tyrrell.
No, like, I actually got him later.
Yeah, okay, good. There you go.
But no, obviously Sam's there, and it's just like, well, kind of, yeah, it's on.
Did you ever, Jimmy? Like, I know you respect him a lot, right? But was there ever a time where you thought, "Fuck this guy"? Like, did you ever start to resent him?
No, resent's a strong word.
Not resent, but was there any like animosity towards him where you started to feel like, because you two were in one way you say everyone wanted you guys to fail. Well, I think there are 2 points of view with the Englishmen who come over. If they're not good, we love to laugh at you guys. But if you're good, the respect is there. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but Sam was the glamour boy of the English duo. Yeah. You're the hard-working Englishman. He's the party boy. He's the glamour guy, the glamour club.
As well. Don't worry about that.
But it felt like as though if you had to say who's It's got nothing to do with football, but in terms of profile, he was the higher profile of the two.
And look, to be fair, Sam, I reckon Sam was a better player. If I was picking a game for my life, I'd pick Sam over me, 100%.
Close though, it's close.
Yeah, and I think there was no resentment there, but there was a feeling that, look, I knew I needed to be good to be on the field with him. I knew I needed to be a type of player to be on the field against him. And he was probably he was the best forward in the game. So you benchmark yourself against that. And probably at different points when you're motivating yourself, you think of people like him, you think of people like Gallen and go, what can I bring to this table? So I probably can't out physical them, but can I out condition them? Can I outskill them? What can I do to disengage his qualities and try and neutralize his threats and come out on top?
Do you have to tell yourself that you hate him to get yourself in that state?
There was no hate because we were friends.
That's what I was going to ask. So there was never any animosity. It never spilled over where it was awkward. It was always whistles over your friends.
Go on, Charles.
There was one time because you refused to shake his hand on the field. Was it rare? It was the final round of the season. I think you guys were playing finals or you weren't playing finals. South was playing finals, one or the other. And South stayed on the field for ages.
I think in that game as well, I'd give him it looked like I'd kicked him.
Right.
Because
looked like or did kick it? Which one is it?
I think what happened was he was coming low, so I stuck my leg up.
Right. To get his studs in his face.
Well, I'd always said that, like, if people are going to die for my legs, I'm gonna put my boot up there.
Right.
I'd always said that. So if anyone comes to third man me in, you'll come off second best because I'll not kick you, but there's no law against putting your foot up.
He's putting his foot up underneath like that. No one can see under the desk, Jimmy.
No, sorry, I forget. No one
Put
can
your
see
foot up
under
in the air.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? If you're standing in the tackle and there was a time where people were cannonballing like that was the typical tackle of 3 men in, 2 up top, third man come for the legs. Tony's going to put it on the screen. So I think I'd maybe overextended it a little bit, but thankfully I didn't get him. But I think he complained to the referee and you know what, that was wrong.
But then what was the handshake thing? Because that was...
The handshake thing comes from... It was the final game of the regular season. So, here we go. Tony's just about to play the video. I thought he was going to like it then. Don't be liking it. This is going to completely dispel. I forgot we were there.
Oh yeah.
Also, Burgess shoots out the line.
And
he missed me.
You spray him.
He missed me, so I was giving him a spray, and then which is fair enough. Unlucky. See, sorry, just pause it a sec, Tone, because that is for me. Like I knew he was going to come, so I couldn't match that fire, so I had to work on things like footwork and right foot steps, and he knew I was right foot, and there I had to come off my left. So, but this is the incident where the boot comes into play. See how he?
Yeah. That's not a boot up. That's a kick.
Go back and show me. I missed that little bit there. I need to see it again, Tony.
That's a kick. Watch
how he tries to cannonball me. Yeah.
Oh, that's a kick. That's like a horse. That's a horse. Someone behind the horse is trying to get him.
But I missed him. I was just letting him know, don't come for my legs.
No, that's not letting him know. That's, come here, brother, I'm going to kick you in the head.
Yeah.
And then Burgess comes over the top with a couple of swinging arms. That's brilliant. I miss rugby league. This is rugby league.
Yeah, I miss watching you play. I miss this contest. This was unbelievable.
That's a fair tackle. He hasn't gone low, Jimmy. He's got you around the hip. He's just gone a kick.
That is...
No,
look at that. You can't do that over the top.
No, you can't do that, but that's... Oh, what? Nothing.
On report.
Nothing
I think you got on
Sammy
report and got a penalty against him.
I think that was the game, actually.
That was the game where you then...
Yeah, because I was shitting myself again.
I'm Team
about
Sam
getting
here.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm
That's
Team
wrong.
Sam.
That is wrong. I'm wrong. I'm hold my hands up and
Did you get
say
suspended for that one or no?
no. I
That was here's the outcome. Sam Burgess got charged for tripping. James Craig, you did not get charged for your kid.
So for that when he flew out the line,
yeah.
That's probably, you know what?
It was
the premeditation was he's tripping.
Doing it
Yeah,
again,
forgot
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
You know, that first tackle, he flew out, he missed, and yeah. But anyway,
So when you see him the next time, what's it like with you? Well, obviously, you don't spend a lot of time together in season, but what's it like then when you come together in England camp? Is it just like you
crack
talk about it, you don't talk about it?
I think you just crack on.
Yeah.
But I think what year is that, Tone?
2016.
So Souths missed the finals that year, right? And that was the last regular season game. So after that, Souths won. So they're pretty happy about winning, but they're not playing finals. So, like, there's no, we need to get in and have a huddle and talk about we're going to the finals and we're going to do all this.
Yeah.
Boys, you're going on Mad Monday, you clowns. Like, clap your fat, shake our hands, go and thank your supporters for coming. Have your little mothers meeting in the dressing sheds and talk about the year that was. There's no, like, you know, sometimes you see it like teams get together after the final game, but they've got bigger fish to fry and they all get together. They do it at half time sometimes now. There's none of that. So we're stood there waiting. I'm like, you've got 10 seconds to go. Otherwise, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not about to wait around for South Sydney to say, now it's time to shake your hands. Like, I was like, see you later. Which I think really is warranted.
Yeah.
And Sam came to me and goes, mate, you'll regret this. I think he said, I fucking won't.
Yeah. I think there's audio.
waiting.
I remember watching it. I think there's vision of that where Sam says you regret this and you just tell him that stuff. There was an incident. Wasn't there an incident in a lift with you and Sam though on English?
He claimed.
duties?
I don't remember.
You don't remember this, but there was potentially punches thrown in a lift.
What state? Punches in a lift.
Yeah.
It's Hudson Young and Morgan Smith.
Oh, man.
It was
Tommy's
about that.
love a good.
No,
Yeah.
I think my alter ego is out Dick Dave Smashington, and when I'm like him and the battery pack comes out, and it's like, I'm in a lift, and
He claims punches were thrown.
no, he's playing peacekeeper. He's of a more sound mind or more alert than I am, and I'm like sloppy drunk. I'm like trying to wind him up, and if he'd have punched me, like I'd be dead. Like,
Well, your head proves it's pretty strong. Your head's
Fitzy would be
pretty
writing
strong.
your obituary.
yeah, he would be.
Next one then. Benji Marshall and Tim.
Sorry, just going back to that. Like,
This is like COVID therapy all over again. guys.
don't bring up COVID again. It's like, like I guess what you see on the field, because we were good friends. I still like to think that we are, and it was what it was, and there was not. It wasn't at any stage personal. He was doing his best for his team, and he had his motivations to win, no matter who was in the firing line, whether it was just England, Great Britain teammate or not. But mate, it was such a fun time to be alive.
Oh, yeah.
And that being on it, like going into those games against Souths, even having a few times when I played for the Dragons, like I was on edge, knowing he was in that other team. Like like the level of nerves and all. I guess probably willing to admit that the level of outside commentary probably did make you feel that like I can't let him. I knew he could embarrass me, and often, when players who can embarrass, there was a few, not just him, but going up against people that can embarrass you and hurt you and put you on show. That's what I think all players secretly fear, is being embarrassed. And obviously you back yourself in your ability, but you know that like this could become a moment that that you'll never live down. Like if he was to like, when he flew out the line there, if he gets me in that moment, that's like, fuck.
You're a highlight reel for life.
It's like, it's something you don't want in you. You don't want just every and look again. I'm not on social media. People wind you up. Hey, look, remember that time when he got you?
Yeah.
Like, but it's something that you're consciously aware of because he had that in his arsenal.
Yeah, the game's lacking these personal battles these days. Like, I can't really think of any in recent. Like, I think there was one with Corey Horsburgh and some posting on social media with who was that with Royce Hunt maybe or Hammond Wells.
It was. Yeah, it was.
But it's like not like the two of the big dogs like actually having that personal rivalry in the front row. Like, it's lacking that. I can't think of anything like that.
Because everyone's too like if you come out of the line and did what Sam Burgess did. And you got it wrong now. Like the repercussions are so severe for your team's season. Well, the way bins and suspensions.
You know, you've just looked at that incident.
Yeah.
The headline says it all. Sam Burgess charged for tripping. James Graham not charged for attempted kick.
So you admit it was an attempted kick?
No, well,
not a raised boot.
just a raised boot. At what point does raising your boot up become a kick? Just to let him know, don't cannon. Well, he didn't really cannonball me, but he nearly cannonballed.
He genuinely tackled you.
He genuinely tackled me, but it was an attempted cannonball in my.
It was a bit late though.
This is probably the last one we got time for today. We were going to do a couple more, but I don't know if we.
Can we just go on the personal rivalries and why?
Yeah.
Like, you'd love to see, like this weekend, Payne Haas and Joey Tarpany. But you're right, the game has changed defensively where you can't. It's harder to get people, and the consequence of getting it wrong. I mean,
but you can still run hard at someone and run harder at someone and try and hit someone harder.
There's also this unofficial brotherhood that's become a thing in recent years. Like, I thought we were on the precipice of a great rivalry between Tino and Payne Haas, but it just became like they're mates now. Like I want hate. I want people like, as a fan, you want to see people like what we saw with you with Sonny Bill when at Sammy Burgess. Like, that's the kind of stuff we want to see. Well, but it doesn't happen much.
And the thing with Tino and Payne Haas was they both got sin binned in that Origin, and they probably got in trouble for getting sin binned, and they're having the rib jerseys said, "Mate, pull your head and don't none more of that." And then they've now pulled back from doing that.
And Spencer wants a rivalry, but no one wants to take him on.
Yeah. Well, the probably is the talk out there is you can't take it personally. It's team, it's systems, it's someone like Spencer and Payne, they should I know that, but they're New South Wales teammates.
Yeah.
But then again, me and Sam were England teammates.
Let's talk about one more personal rivalry because I do want to do Benji Marshall v Tim Sheens as the final, but just quickly, Spud v Paul, the Chief Harrigan, Chief v Spud. Like, that's one of those, it doesn't really get better than that. The battles they used to have.
Incredible.
And they were kamikaze.
Yep.
Like at a time when, and that's why they're so, I think, respected. And it is, it's going to go forever. That because they were at a time where like they were kamikaze, like like I ain't running like that. No way. I couldn't afford to, but it was just for those two. It certainly appeared that way. It was just, I don't care the consequence of this.
That iconic kickoff.
Oh yeah.
That moment where they were both knocked out. Like, that is the poster child for a legal suit against the NRL.
Yeah.
Like, that is, that was crazy. I remember watching it as a kid thinking, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Did either of them play? Did they just get the one? I know one.
Mate, they probably, who knows? They probably got up and played, both finished the game. It was that era, wasn't it?
To be fair, like Chammy, you like, there's a group of people that love it, but there's probably a larger group of people that go, I'm turning this off.
Well,
my children are not watching this game, and God forbid they are going to play this game.
Yeah.
Like, that's, so, we talk about that personal rivalry in Spencer and someone like, if Spencer Lenu had a twin or a clone and they were going up against each other, I don't know. I think maybe the NRL might enforce that they have to play together and not against each other.
But I just want, like, remember Joel Clinton and Sonny Bill, that shot, and then I think it was Maria Hargreaves and Simon Dwyer. But those iconic shots, like, I can't tell you the last time we've seen one of those. Maybe I'm just forgetful. I don't know. Anyway, you want to move on, Charlie?
That Maria Hargreaves shot, that was not even a penalty. That was just knock on.
Was it on Dwyer?
Yeah,
was it the other way around? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but then it was Dwyer got knocked it on. But then they lost the ball in the scrum. Oh, no. The other way around.
Dwyer got him, yeah.
Yeah, and then they flip the scrum and Asa kicks the field goal. Where it should have just been a penalty. Benji Marshall, Tim Sheens, this is one that you're very close to, Chammy. Started out, I guess, in 2012 when Sheens, in his eyes, the playing group sort of ousted him from the club, and Benji Marshall was a huge part of that. And then you fast forward about just over 10 years, there's a feeling that maybe Benji Marshall put the nail in Tim Sheens' coffin again at the Tigers.
And also, just to go even further, the reunion of or the celebration of the 2005, 30 years on. It was supposed to be 20 years on. Stand corrected.
I found out maths is not your strong point, because the other day we were working out the pyramid 4 + 3 + 2 + 1. I originally said it equals 8, which is wrong. Then you said no, it equals 9. The correct answer is 10. So maths is not this show's strong point.
No, it's not.
Yeah, well, that was obvious when we did the 10-year ladder, but did it over 11 seasons. Oh, dear. Yes, I think, look, Benji, I was around for the Benji Sheens breakup part 1, but I wasn't covering it really closely. But clearly, Sheensy felt as though he was knifed by the playing group. And that bad blood spilled over for a long, long time. Like, I remember doing I can't remember the year, it would have been 2019 maybe. Benji Marshall's 300th. We did a special tribute to Benji Marshall. We went to the Leichhardt Oval Sheds. We organised surprise visitors, flew his mum down. Robbie Farah came in, Pat Richards, Jason Nightingale. Got a video from Wayne Bennett. I remember reaching out to Tim Sheens, thinking, a lot of time's passed. It's 8, 9, 10 years later. It's Benji's 300. Can we get a video message from Tim Sheens to Benji? Sheens didn't want a bar of it. And it was really sad. But he comes back to the country and they fix things. They fix things to the point where Sheens is at the club. He's at I think it was the general manager of football to begin with. Yep. They sack Michael Maguire, which then leads to the pursuit of Cameron Serraldo.
Sorry. I remember they had Madge in and they bought Sheens back as general manager. Oh my God.
Yes.
Tigers.
It was a disaster. And Sheensy, poor old Sheensy, I don't think he was very technologically savvy. As people typing out emails for him. And anyway, he ends up, the Tigers end up sacking Madge. They pursue Cameron Serraldo, miss out on Cameron Serraldo. And they're thinking, what are we going to do? Sheens is there at the time. And Benji had been moved on from the club because Madge moved him on.
Benji was doing media.
He was at Fox. He was. And at Triple M.
He'd finished.
Yeah.
He'd finished playing.
Yeah, because Madge moved him on.
Because he went to Souths. And remember, he was
in that grand final in 2014
role.
2021, 22.
So Sheens is there, and the Tigers decide, well, Sheensy wants to coach, but he's getting older. He's getting older, and the whispers around, is he able to do it? How long is he going to be able to do it for? And then they break bread, and they become this duo who's going to work together to transition Benji into a coach. And all is well. And then I remember writing a story after in Sheensy's first year. It was supposed to be 2 years of Sheensy into a Benji. Speaking of rivalries, Big Gordy's about to walk in. I better leave. You've got Sheensy then telling Benji about the story comes out that the Tigers are looking at fast tracking Benji Marshall into the head coach role. And that caused all sorts of drama because Sheens thought Benji was knifing him. Benji was trying to distance himself from it all. It's got nothing to do with me. They're trying to sign players. Who's signing who's getting the say. Sheensy's telling everyone, whoever Benji wants, we're going to get. And then Sheens moves on. And the club move on from Sheensy and Benji's parachuted into the head coaching role. And clearly, Sheensy feels as though Benji knifed him because they haven't spoken since. There's been ample opportunity for him to come back in and do things, whether it be a 20-year anniversary or other things with the club, and he's wanted nothing to do with Benji Marshall. And considering what they had achieved in 2005, I don't think there's anything coming back now. It's a real sad ending to that story. And I don't even know if Benji knifed him. I don't believe that Benji was actively pursuing to knife Sheensy.
In 2020.
In the latest, when he was his assistant. I don't have anything to suggest that Benji was knifing Sheensy deliberately, But what was happening is the performances weren't good.
Yeah.
What were they going to do? They're going to stick with it. The obvious solution, or the obvious attempted solution, was okay. Well, Sheens, it's time to go, and their relationship paid the price as a result.
Did the players maybe get thrown under the bus a little bit during that first time? Or Benji get thrown under the bus? I know there was a different time when I think it was Farah and Jason Taylor threw them under the bus a little bit. The power brokers, perhaps.
Yeah, I think because Jason Taylor was after Sheensy, wasn't he? Did he go Potter Taylor or did he go Taylor Potter?
I'll get it up now.
But that was, Robbie's fallout with Jason Taylor was quite significant, but it wasn't actually Robbie that resulted in Jason Taylor. The club chose Jason to actually, we've forgotten Robbie and Jason. That's a podcast in itself, to be fair.
Yeah. It was Sheens into Mick Potter, by the way.
Sheens into Mick Potter. There was a bit of player power there, and then Taylor gets the job, and the club decides we're not going to go down this path of player power again. We're going to back JT. And Robbie leaves. Remember the scenes at Leichhardt Oval, New South Wales Cup? Robbie leaves. And then the Big Four thing happens. And the Big Four aren't happy. Woodsy, Teddy, Luke Brooks, and Mitchell Moses. And it's the player power of them that results in Jason Taylor leaving. And Ivan Cleary eventually taking over from Jason Taylor. So I think... I think the Sheensy Benji one was around the Auckland Blues situation, because I'm trying to remember. Did Sheensy go, and the deal that was on the table for Benji ended up getting taken away? He plays under Mick Potter, and Benji leaves because the Tigers pulled the offer that was on the table from when Sheens was in charge. So it's an ugly one. You talk about podcasts on its own. That Tigers player power breakup stuff, that was fascinating.
There's heaps we didn't get to. We've got Gordon Tallis. He's walked in. We didn't get to Gordon Tallis v. Bill Harrigan. Gordon Tallis v. Michael Chammas.
Oh, Gordon Tallis v. me. No, that's sort of, we're sweet now, aren't we? Until he belts me in London later in the year. I'll make sure I got a camera on me in case I can at least get a story out of it. I'm going to be in hospital.
Get a GoPro. All right. Well, I think there's definitely some legs for part two. Please let us know in the comments if there's something that has escaped us or you'd like to see us take a bit of a dive on. But
we could do part 2 and then add some club rivalries into it as well. If we
I
need
like
to.
what you think. Yeah, I think the club rivalries.
Yeah, South obviously the Roosters.
South
Bronx
Roosters
v Storm.
Yeah, Cronulla v Storm.
Manly Storm. That was probably that era there.
Lot of teams hating on the Storm. I mean, that's
the Brisbane Dragons era in the 90s. It was big. Mundine, Gordy, there was a bit of that.
Yeah.
So.
We could just do a whole podcast on rivalries Gordon Tallis has had.
That would be something else, wouldn't it? 10-part special. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you very soon on the bar round.